For participating in the paper prototyping phase of our app. Cat Food wants to give Northwestern students a one-stop digital destination to browse any and all food options on or off campus. We're asking you to conduct free tasks on our app so we can see how users would go about achieving a goal without specific steps told to them. As a reminder, we are not testing you, we are testing our interface. The first task is, as a guest, add spaghetti to your favorite foods.
And we asked to as you're thinking about it, talk out loud. So just speak your thought process when you're using it.
So I see an option to log in or enter as a guest, so I'll press enter as a guest. And then I see search for food or view hours and menus. I'll search for food. And then I'll search for spaghetti. It says currently unavailable, so I don't know what to do now. I guess I would start it.
That was the first task. Alright, task number 2. Sorry, I have to speak to that. As a guest, find the hours for and check the menu of Sargent Dining Hall.
So again, I'll be clicking in as a guest. I will view hours and menus. And then I will click on Sarge. And then just look for the menu of whichever meal I'm looking for.
Is this today's menu though? Or tomorrow's?
This is yesterday's menu.
So how did you... And this is today's date.
Okay. Yeah, this is today's menu.
So then you want to find tomorrow's date. How do you do that?
So I would just click here and change the date and press.
Woo!
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Alright, final task. As a guest, find vegan options available right now.
So again, I'm logging in as a guest. I'm searching for food. And on the search button, I'll type in vegan.
Okay. Vegan. And that's it.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Alright, so for our observations, user 1 noted that there was a lack of a home button and a lack of a back button. That was especially relevant for these two screens right here. They would accidentally click the other button when they were supposed to click this button, so they would land on, say, this page when they wanted to get to this page. And so they wanted to go back, they didn't know how to, and that was one of the problems that we noted, that there was like a lack of a back button for them. They were kind of stuck. The second user had a problem with this screen. The buttons were too small, like the words were too small, it was hard to see. It was also a little cluttered. There was a lot of information on this just like small area, and it was like a little less intuitive. They weren't sure they could actually click it. And then the third user had a problem with the filters. So with the filters, they originally we intended so you can just click on here and click on the filters and add the filters that way. But instead, their first reaction was to click on the search tab and search for the filters instead. So that is one thing we need to consider, that users might want to search for the filters through the search bar instead of the filters tab. Another problem we had with user 3, or another observation we've made with user 3, was that they were having problems realizing that you had to click the star to favorite it. They didn't know that clicking the star meant like favoriting. So that's another observation. Like maybe like the shape of this like of a star isn't obvious enough. Maybe another shape like a heart would be more intuitive. And lastly, for user 3, they also had trouble selecting the date, changing the date to tomorrow's menu. They didn't know that this button right here you could click on to change the date. So they were just kind of stuck for a while on this page and didn't know they could click on it to change the date. All right, so to resolve these observations, these issues that we've encountered, that the users have encountered, hold on, let me reset that. All right. So some potential resolutions we have for these issues that we've observed are firstly to add a back button and a home button clearly designed, integrated into our app, especially because there's a lot of iPhone users who don't have like a physical back and home button, so like they're accustomed to seeing it integrated into the apps. Secondly, we are going to redesign this screen to make it less cluttered, make it bigger, make everything more readable and more intuitive for the users to navigate. And another thing we're going to change is, as we've mentioned, change the stars to another shape that's more obvious to its purpose. So maybe like have a heart, because heart tends to mean like liking or favoriting things. So we could change it to a heart to see if that makes it more intuitive. And finally, we plan to change the button for selecting the date to make it more obvious that you can change the date by maybe having like an arrow by the tab, so you can know that you can like have a drop down calendar thing to select the date. And also one last thing is as we've mentioned also, is make it possible for the user to select filters by searching in this search bar.